What up, y'all? So, what if I told you you could effortlessly attract anything that you want in your life? What if I told you that you could think of something and it could come into your reality just like that? So, I've been kind of doing this for a while, not really knowing what I was doing and not knowing how to explain it in a way that actually makes sense because a lot of it doesn't make sense. But I think I'm getting a grasp on what is actually happening. So, ever since 2017, pretty much, I made a change and I realized that, okay, I didn't like where I was at. I was struggling big time with anxiety and depression and purposelessness. And something within me was like, all right, we got to make a change here because whatever's going on right now is not working out. So, started learning about, the subconscious mind and like manifestation and all that. And I did a lot of rewiring, like 2017, 2018. I remember I would be sitting like every morning with a little coffee on the back porch in summer of 2017 because I was still in college then. Well, that was my freshman year of college. And I was writing down who I wanted to become, what I really wanted to do with my life. And I remember going on family vacations. I was sitting on the beach and I was meditating. I was visualizing who I wanted to become. And a lot of that, a lot of visualization those years, and not a lot of action and putting it all together because, it's the easy thing, right? You hear, oh, you can manifest anything that you want just like that. And it's not that simple. There's a few other steps that I'm going to talk about in this video that will allow you to effortlessly draw the things into your life that you need. But I've had enough weird coincidences or instances where things just kind of happen for me. Like, for example, one of the things I was really, back in those years, I was what, like 19? And I was writing down, like, everyone wants money. But of course, I was writing that down, but I was writing, I want to be a leader. I want to be successful and all that. And there was a time the last few years where I fell into these three specific jobs, we'll call them. They were jobs, but and I fell into leadership roles. And it just how it happened, like the person in charge just left and I was left to be in charge and I was forced to grow. Another weird example is she's gonna love me talking about this. I made a list at one point. And so I wrote down probably about, it was like 29 things, 29 or 30 things, what I wanted in a woman. And then I had completely forgot about it. And I got super specific with what I wanted, super specific. Um, what was one of the things that I put down? I don't really remember. But then we came back later and I let that thing go. And that's a key we're going to talk about, letting it go. And come to realize that we're going through this list and I told her about it and she's checking off every single box and it was a little freaky. Um, how things have aligned. So earlier this year, I moved across the country and how things have pretty much effortlessly aligned, like coincidences that basically told me, okay, you need to move here or you need to stay here. And, it seemed like it was on a whim, but I think it was a culmination of the work that I had done over the last like 7 years to get there. And people from the outside may look at me and say, like, oh, things just happen for him, like he's blessed. Like, no, I'm saying that there is a way to do this. There is a way to effortlessly get what you want. It's not just for special people or whatever. You got to realize that we are always creating our reality, whether we realize it or not. Part of the issue is that we're not in alignment. And so, before I get into the steps, give me a like, give me a subscribe. Trying to grow here a little bit. And comment below your experiences with manifestation because I'm curious to see what you guys have been through. I think even though I was doing way too much visualizing and not enough action back in those years, like 2017, 2018, I think the most powerful thing that I did back then was that I was rewiring my mentalities. So, how I was looking at life. Like I was telling myself, I would literally be writing down, I would fill up a whole page of I am statements. So things that I wanted to develop in myself. Like I'd tell myself all the time, I am powerful. As corny as it sounds, I am powerful. Gives you the self confidence, that is required to accomplish things in life. I would talk about all the things that I'm grateful for. I would write down, life works out in my favor. I always get everything that I need. I attract the people and things in my life that align with my goals. And I would say these things, I would write them down literally on a daily basis. And I repeated it so much that it got deep into my subconscious wiring. And what you have to understand about the subconscious mind is that it doesn't know the difference between real and fake. So that's where fake it till you make it, I think, comes from. I was telling myself this, and it thrives on repetition too. So I was telling myself this on a daily basis, and eventually it got so deep within that I started to believe it without even realizing it, and it changed how I operated in life, and it changed what was attracted to me, and it rewired myself for positivity and self empowerment. So now that coupled with action is really the goal. But the first step to starting to effortlessly attract things into your life is to set clear intentions. And now, when we set these intentions, right, like I said before, we're not just saying we want all this money. The outcomes that you get, the money that you're paid, everything in your external is a reflection of your being, of who you are. So I think it's way more powerful to talk about, like I said, the I am statements. I am becoming this. I am learning. Another one that I think really helped me out was I am improving. I would say that to myself all the time. I am growing. I am learning. I am learning from anyone and anything and any situation. And another thing that I think really changed things for me, really helped me get over a lot of anxiety and started to help me really grow, is that I reframed how I viewed failure. I started embracing failure. I used to be so afraid to mess up and so afraid to fail. And then I realized that failure is good. And I started reframing that. And so now I embrace failure and I embrace feeling uncomfortable. I remember going on walks and listening to, I think it was the first book I really read while I listened to it on the journey to transform was Failing Forward by John C. Maxwell, I think it was. And basically, he just kept saying, failure is good. This is why, success comes with failure and all that. And that really changed things for me. But back to the intentions, get clear on what you want. But let's really dig deep into what we want and not just what we want because of, to make a lot of money, what we want because we feel like we have to do it, or because we feel like because of what other people think we're put in a box. Like, no, if limitations didn't exist, what really excites you? What do you really, really, really desire? So the reason why we want to set intentions and why we're always setting intentions whether we realize it or not. So once we start consciously setting intentions, whatever we put our focus on is what we put our energy on, and what we put our focus on grows. So it's like when you buy a car, like if I bought a Toyota Camry, right? I'm going to start seeing Toyota Camrys all over the place. When you start wiring yourself towards your goals, you're going to start seeing avenues to fulfill them. You're going to start have things coming up and observing things that you didn't realize from before because now you're putting all your intention and focus into it. And the more you put your focus into it, The more you block out all the distractions and just go tunnel vision on your goal, the more power it's going to have and the more likely that it will be fulfilled. And the key when you're setting intentions, when you're visualizing, is to get as much emotion involved as possible. So when you think about the life that you are creating, and not you are going to create, start framing it in the positive now that you are creating. Get as much emotion involved as possible. Really feel it. Feel the joy. Feel the excitement. Feel the security. Feel the sense of freedom that it'll bring from accomplishing that goal. I think it was Joe Dispenza. Joe Dispenza talks a lot about the heart brain coherence. So when we set a thought on an emotion, it sends out even further because the heart sends a higher electrical impulse than the brain. The heart is actually a brain in itself, so is the stomach. But when you combine those two together, the thought becomes potent. And when you set out an intention, any intention, it because of how life works and thoughts are things. Thoughts are like radio waves that send out. If you want to get down to it, they're vibrations that send out. And you know that everything that you put out, you get back. So whenever you set an intention, it has to happen. Now, the issue is depending on how easily it happens or how long it takes is dependent on your alignment with it. So this is really the key. This is really the key. Alignment. So you have to make sure that your entire being from top to bottom is aligned with that intention that you set. Your thoughts and your actions, and then when you get deep into it, your beliefs all have to be aligned a lot of the time, because when you think that thought, when you think that intention, when you basically create that reality in your head, it is now real to an extent. It is now real. So you have that reality, that future version in your head, but now you're still living the same life. Like you're not making any changes to your life in terms of your actions. And that's when we start living in resistance. And I think that's where a lot of people are. You know, we have this vision for our future. It exists because you created it in your head. And now we're just not aligned with it. So as soon as you make the decision, and it's going to be tough at first to align with it, that's when things start happening. And then finally, let go of the intention that you set. So you have to let go. As soon as you set that intention, right? If you really look at the subtleties of how things operate, things will start showing up. People might start showing up in your life. Knowledge will start showing up in your life that will help you fulfill the intention that you set. And opportunities may knock too. But if you are so attached to how the goal is going to be fulfilled and you get an opportunity on your plate and you just think, like, what does this even have to do with my goal? Like, no, I'm not going to do that. Then you close yourself off from that goal being fulfilled faster. So you can't be attached to how the opportunities are going to come. Like, I keep getting thrown back into coaching volleyball. And first I was like, what? Coaching volleyball? I don't want to coach volleyball long term. But then when I was thinking about it, it was like, well, it's making me really test myself and push myself to speak up, to be a leader. And that was one of the intentions that I set. And that brings me to another point. I just keep rambling on in this one. That's all right. I'm just trying to conceptualize this. What you fear most a lot of the times is what you have to do. So it's that next step, the thing that might push you over the edge to actually accomplish the goal. It might be something that you fear to do. For me, it was speaking. For me, it was posting on social media. And look, I've pushed through the fear and now it just feels like second nature to me. And hopefully it will help to fulfill the goals that I set. But it might be that little mental block that you have, that little fear that you just need to push through and do, and things will start happening for you. But back to the letting go, let go of how your goals will be fulfilled. Let go of the time it will take. Because again, when you put too much, you put something on a pedestal too much because of how magnetism works, right? And I think that's why I attracted my girlfriend so easily, because I made that list and then I let it go. I forgot about it. I didn't even want to get in a relationship. And then it just came to me. So when you're pushing at it too much, then you can't let it come to you. You can't attract it. You're constantly pushing away because you're telling yourself that you don't have it. And I think that's a key to effortlessly attracting is you need to, of course, you need to put in consistent effort. And the key is consistency. It's not crazy amount of effort where it's not sustainable, but it's consistent effort. And let go of how things will work out for you, and then just sit back and enjoy the ride and enjoy the journey. So I really think that manifestation or attraction happens at the cornerstone of setting your intentions, aligning yourself fully with those intentions, and then letting go of the outcome and focus on who you are becoming instead of the results, and the results come. And just watch, just observe how things are drawn to you and you start to become magnetic. So I hope this video helps someone. That's all I got for today.